Dinosaurs. The very word conjures images of immense creatures. They roamed the Earth millions of years before humans. Their world was vastly different from our own. Jungles were thicker, volcanoes rumbled frequently. The air itself might have felt different, yet these animals thrived. They dominated every continent, they adapted to countless environments. This sheer scale of their existence, both in size and time, captures our imagination. We find their bones massive and silent. These fossils are windows into a lost world, a world filled with mystery and power. The fascination begins early for many. Children are drawn to the power and strangeness of dinosaurs. They learn their long, complicated names with surprising ease. Tyrannosaurus rex, Triceratops, Stegosaurus. These names become familiar, like characters in an epic story. This early interest often sparks a lifelong curiosity. What were they really like? How did they move? What sounds did they make? Scientists work tirelessly to answer these questions. Each new discovery, each fossil unearthed, adds another piece to an enormous, complex puzzle. The quest to understand them is a scientific adventure. Think about it, an animal as tall as a building, a predator with teeth the size of bananas, herbivores that weighed more than a dozen elephants. These are not creatures of myth or legend. They were real. They lived, breathed, fought, and died on this very planet. Their bones lay buried for eons, waiting to be found. The discovery of these remains opened up a new chapter in our understanding of life's history. It showed us that life on Earth has undergone profound changes and that even the most dominant species can vanish. This allure extends beyond childhood wonder. It fuels scientific research and inspires popular culture. Movies, books, and art constantly revisit the age of dinosaurs. We try to recreate their world, to imagine what it would be like to stand in their shadow. This enduring fascination speaks to something deep within us. Perhaps it is the sheer alienness of these creatures. Or perhaps it is the realization of how ancient our planet is and how fleeting any one species' time can be. The story of the dinosaurs is a story of immense scale, of life and death on a planetary level. The Mesozoic era, the age of dinosaurs, was home to a vast array of plant-eating dinosaurs known as herbivores. These creatures came in many shapes and sizes, each adapted to its particular diet and environment. Some, like the Brachiosaurus, had incredibly long necks. These necks allowed them to reach high into the treetops, munching on leaves that other dinosaurs could not access. Imagine a living giraffe, but many times larger, its head swaying amongst the tallest ferns and conifers. Their lives were a constant search for enough vegetation to fuel their enormous bodies, a daily quest for sustenance. Another famous group of herbivores was the hadrosaurs, often called the duck-billed dinosaurs. They possessed broad, flat beaks, perfect for snipping and stripping leaves and twigs from bushes and low-lying plants. Many hadrosaurs also had complex dental batteries, hundreds of teeth packed together. As old teeth wore down from grinding tough plant material, new ones would grow in to replace them. This efficient system allowed them to process large quantities of food. Some species, like Parasaurolophus, even had elaborate crests on their heads, which scientists believe might have been used for display or to make unique sounds for communication. Then there were the armored dinosaurs, built like living tanks to defend against predators. Stegosaurus, with its iconic double row of plates along its back and a spiked tail called a thagomizer, was a formidable herbivore. The plates might have been used for defense, display, or even to help regulate body temperature. Ankylosaurus was even more heavily armored. Its body was covered in bony plates and studs, and it wielded a massive club at the end of its tail. This club could deliver a bone-shattering blow to any carnivore foolish enough to attack. These herbivores were not just passive grazers, they were active participants in their ecosystems. Their feeding habits shaped the plant life around them. Their movements created pathways through dense vegetation. Many likely lived in herds, offering safety in numbers against the constant threat of predators. The sheer diversity of herbivorous dinosaurs, from the towering sauropods to the heavily armored ankylosaurs, demonstrates the incredible adaptability of life. They found ways to thrive on a diet of plants in a world filled with constant danger, representing a crucial part of the prehistoric food web. While herbivores peacefully munched on plants, another group of dinosaurs ruled through power and predation, the carnivores. These meat-eaters were the apex predators of their time. The most famous, of course, is Tyrannosaurus rex. With its massive skull, powerful jaws, and teeth designed for crushing bone, T-Rex was a terrifying hunter. It stood on two strong hind legs, its small forelimbs a subject of much scientific debate. Whether it was a fast runner or a scavenger, or perhaps both, its presence would have struck fear into any creature in its path. Its senses, particularly smell, were likely highly developed. But T-Rex was not the only fearsome carnivore. Many other theropods, the group to which most carnivorous dinosaurs belong, roamed the prehistoric landscapes. Velociraptors, though smaller than often depicted in popular culture, were agile hunters. They possessed a distinctive sickle-shaped claw on each foot, likely used to slash at prey. Deinonychus, a larger relative, had even more formidable claws. These raptors may have hunted in packs, using intelligence and cooperation to bring down larger animals. Their speed and agility made them efficient and deadly predators in their respective ecosystems. Beyond the dedicated carnivores and herbivores, some dinosaurs were omnivores. This means they ate both plants and animals. Oviraptor, whose name misleadingly means egg thief, is a good example. While early discoveries found its fossils near nests, later evidence suggested it might have been protecting its own eggs. Studies of its beak and skull suggest it could have eaten a varied diet, including eggs, small animals, insects, and plants. Being an omnivore offered flexibility. If one food source became scarce, they could switch to another, increasing their chances of survival in a changing world. The interplay between carnivores, herbivores, and omnivores created a complex and dynamic ecosystem. Predators kept herbivore populations in check, preventing them from overgrazing and destroying plant life. Scavengers, both carnivorous and omnivorous, played a vital role in cleaning up carcasses, recycling nutrients back into the environment. This intricate web of life, with its hunters and hunted, its specialists and generalists, maintained a balance for millions of years. Understanding these different dietary groups helps us appreciate the complexity of the dinosaur world and the diverse strategies they evolved to survive and thrive. When we think of dinosaurs, we often picture immense creatures, and for good reason. Some of the largest animals to ever walk the earth were dinosaurs. The sauropods, those long-necked, long-tailed herbivores, reached truly colossal sizes. Argentinosaurus, for example, is estimated to have been over 100 feet long and may have weighed over 70 tons. That's heavier than a dozen adult African elephants. Patagotitan maiorum, another contender for the title of largest land animal, was similarly massive. Imagine the ground trembling as one of these giants walked by. Their sheer scale is almost beyond comprehension. These giants faced unique challenges. Their hearts had to be incredibly powerful to pump blood all the way up their long necks to their brains. Their skeletons needed to be strong enough to support their immense weight, yet light enough to allow movement. Many sauropod bones were hollow or contained air sacs, similar to modern birds, which helped reduce weight without sacrificing strength. Finding enough food to sustain such massive bodies was a constant daily undertaking. They must have spent most of their waking hours eating, stripping leaves from countless trees. However, not all dinosaurs were giants. The Mesozoic era also saw a wide array of smaller dinosaurs. Compsognathus, for instance, was a small theropod, about the size of a chicken. It was a fast, agile hunter, likely preying on insects and small lizards. Microraptor, a small, four-winged dinosaur, was even smaller, similar in size to a pigeon. These smaller species filled different ecological niches than their larger cousins. They could hide in smaller spaces, hunt smaller prey, and perhaps reproduce more quickly. Their diminutive size was an advantage in certain environments. The diversity in size among dinosaurs is truly staggering. From creatures weighing many tons to those weighing only a few pounds, they occupied almost every conceivable scale. This incredible range demonstrates the evolutionary success of the dinosaur lineage. They adapted to fill a multitude of roles in their ecosystems. The giants captured our imagination with their sheer bulk, but the smaller dinosaurs were equally fascinating, showcasing the varied paths evolution can take. Understanding this size spectrum gives us a more complete picture of the dinosaur world, a world of both colossal beasts and nimble, smaller forms. Section 5. Built to survive. Teeth, claws, armor, and other adaptations. Dinosaur survival depended heavily on their physical features, which were remarkably diverse and specialized. Teeth, for instance, tell us a great deal about what a dinosaur ate. Carnivores like Tyrannosaurus rex had long, sharp, serrated teeth, perfect for tearing flesh and crushing bone. Some, like Spinosaurus, had conical teeth, better suited for gripping slippery prey like fish. Herbivores, on the other hand, had teeth adapted for grinding tough plant material. Triceratops had a powerful beak for snipping vegetation and rows of shearing teeth further back in its jaws. The shape and structure of teeth were critical tools for acquiring nourishment. Claws were another essential adaptation serving various purposes. Predatory theropods like Allosaurus and Velociraptor possessed sharp, curved claws on their feet and hands. These were used for grasping prey, delivering disabling wounds or providing traction while running. Some herbivores also had impressive claws, though perhaps more for defense or digging. The Tyrannosaurus, an unusual theropod that may have been primarily herbivorous, had enormous claws on its hands, some reaching over a meter in length. The exact purpose of these giant claws is still debated, but they could have been used for defense or pulling down branches. Many dinosaurs developed elaborate armor for protection. Ankylosaurs, as mentioned earlier, were walking fortresses covered in bony plates called osteoderms. Some even had spikes projecting from their sides. Their tail clubs provided a formidable weapon against attackers. Stegosaurus, with its backplates and thagomizer, also relied on defensive structures. Even some sauropods, the giant long necks, are believed to have had some form of bony armor embedded in their skin. This armor was a direct evolutionary response to the constant threat posed by large, powerful carnivores. A biological arms race played out over millions of years. Beyond teeth, claws, and armor, dinosaurs exhibited many other fascinating adaptations. The long necks of sauropods allowed them to reach high foliage. The frills and horns of ceratopsians, like Triceratops, could have been used for display, species recognition, or defense against predators. Some dinosaurs, particularly smaller theropods, are now known to have possessed feathers. Initially, these feathers might have served as insulation, but over time they evolved to aid in display and eventually, in some lineages, flight. These varied physical traits showcase the incredible evolutionary creativity that allowed dinosaurs to dominate their world for so long. Section 6. Dinosaur Habitats, a glimpse into a prehistoric Earth. Dinosaurs lived across a vast range of environments during the Mesozoic era, which spanned from about 252 to 66 million years ago. This era is divided into three periods: the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous. During the Triassic, the Earth's landmasses were largely joined together in a single supercontinent called Pangaea. The climate was generally hot and dry, with large deserts. Early dinosaurs shared this world with other reptiles. As Pangaea began to break apart, new ocean basins formed and climates started to diversify, leading to different habitats for dinosaurs to exploit. The Jurassic period saw Pangaea continue to rift, leading to more coastlines and a generally warmer, wetter climate. This encouraged the growth of lush forests of conifers, cycads, and ferns. These environments supported the giant sauropods like Brachiosaurus and Diplodocus, which needed vast amounts of vegetation. River systems and floodplains were common, providing water and rich plant life. These were dynamic landscapes shaped by geological activity and changing sea levels. Dinosaurs adapted to life in these verdant, sprawling ecosystems, from dense forests to open fern savannas. By the Cretaceous period, the continents had drifted further apart, approaching their modern-day positions. This led to even greater regional variation in climate and habitats. Flowering plants, a new evolutionary development, began to spread, changing the nature of plant life available to herbivores. Some areas were warm and tropical, while others experienced more seasonal changes. Dinosaurs were found from the polar regions, which experienced long dark winters, to equatorial jungles. We find fossils in what is now North America, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, and even Antarctica, showing their global distribution. Understanding dinosaur habitats requires studying not just the fossils of the animals themselves, but also the rocks and fossil plants found alongside them. These clues help paleontologists reconstruct ancient environments. Fossilized pollen can tell us about the types of plants that grew. Sedimentary rocks can indicate whether an area was a desert, a riverbed, or a shallow sea. By piecing together this evidence, scientists can paint a picture of the world these magnificent creatures inhabited. a world very different from our own, yet governed by the same natural laws of ecology and adaptation. Section 7. Daily life in the Mesozoic: eating, socializing, and surviving. The daily life of a dinosaur was primarily a quest for survival. For herbivores, this meant spending a significant portion of their day finding and consuming enough plant matter to fuel their bodies. A large sauropod might have needed to eat hundreds of kilograms of leaves and twigs every single day. This would involve constant browsing or grazing, moving from one food source to another. They had to be aware of their surroundings, always vigilant for the approach of predators. Their sheer size was a defense, but young, old, or sick individuals would have been particularly vulnerable. Carnivores, on the other hand, spent their days hunting or scavenging. Hunting was an energy-intensive activity, often involving periods of stalking, chasing, and subduing prey. Not every hunt was successful. Predators like Tyrannosaurus rex or Allosaurus might have gone days without a large kill. They relied on their strength, speed, senses, and sometimes cooperative strategies. Smaller carnivores might have focused on smaller, more readily available prey. Scavenging, feeding on animals that were already dead, was also an important way to obtain food, requiring less energy than an active hunt. Evidence suggests that many dinosaurs were social creatures. Fossil trackways show multiple individuals of the same species moving together, indicating herding behavior, particularly among herbivores like hadrosaurs and sauropods. Living in herds offered protection through shared vigilance and collective defense. Some fossil sites, known as bone beds, contain the remains of many individuals of the same species, suggesting they died together, perhaps during a flood or drought. Ceratopsians, with their elaborate frills and horns, likely engaged in social displays or even ritual combat for dominance or mating rights. Nesting sites provide further insights into dinosaur social behavior and parental care. Discoveries of nests with eggs, sometimes even with fossilized embryos or young hatchlings, show that many dinosaurs laid eggs, much like modern birds and reptiles. Some species, like Maiasaura, whose name means good mother lizard, appear to have cared for their young in nesting colonies. They may have brought food to their hatchlings until they were old enough to fend for themselves. This parental care would have increased the chances of survival for the vulnerable young dinosaurs in a world full of dangers. Section 8. The Great Cataclysm Unraveling the Mystery of Dinosaur Extinction. For over 150 million years, dinosaurs were the dominant terrestrial vertebrates on Earth. Then, about 66 million years ago, at the boundary between the Cretaceous and Paleogene periods, they vanished. This event, known as the KPG extinction event, formerly KT extinction, wiped out not only the non-avian dinosaurs, but also about 3/4 of all plant and animal species on the planet. For many years, the cause of this mass extinction was a profound mystery, debated intensely by scientists. What could have caused such a widespread and catastrophic disappearance of life? The leading scientific theory, and the one with the most compelling evidence, points to a massive asteroid impact. In the late 1970s, scientists Luis and Walter Alvarez, along with Frank Asaro and Helen Michel, discovered a thin layer of clay rich in iridium at the KPG boundary in various locations around the world. Iridium is rare on Earth's surface, but common in asteroids and comets. They proposed that a large asteroid, estimated to be about 10 to 15 kilometers, 6 to 9 miles wide, struck the Earth. This impact would have released an unimaginable amount of energy. The impact site is believed to be the Chicxulub crater, a massive impact structure buried beneath the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The immediate effects of such an impact would have been devastating. Giant tsunamis would have ravaged coastlines. The immense heat would have ignited widespread wildfires. Vast quantities of dust, soot, and debris would have been thrown into the atmosphere, blocking out sunlight for months, possibly even years. This impact winter would have caused global temperatures to plummet and halted photosynthesis in plants, leading to the collapse of food chains. While the asteroid impact is the primary culprit, other factors may have contributed to the dinosaurs' demise or made them more vulnerable. Massive volcanic eruptions in an area known as the Deccan Traps in India were occurring around the same time. These eruptions released huge amounts of greenhouse gases and other pollutants into the atmosphere, potentially causing significant climate change and environmental stress. It's possible that the dinosaurs were already facing challenges from these volcanic events, and the asteroid impact delivered the final, devastating blow. Only smaller, more adaptable creatures, including the ancestors of birds, which are avian dinosaurs, and mammals, managed to survive this cataclysm. Section 9. Echoes of the past dinosaurs in our world today. Although the great non-avian dinosaurs disappeared 66 million years ago, their legacy endures in many remarkable ways. Scientifically, the study of dinosaurs, paleontology, has profoundly shaped our understanding of evolution, extinction, and Earth's history. Each fossil discovery provides new clues about the biology of these ancient creatures, the environments they inhabited, and the processes that drive life on our planet. Techniques for studying fossils have become increasingly sophisticated, allowing us to learn about their growth rates, diseases, and even, in some rare cases, their coloration. Dinosaurs serve as a powerful case study for how life adapts and changes over vast timescales. Perhaps the most direct living legacy of the dinosaurs is birds. Over the past few decades, a wealth of fossil evidence, including feathered dinosaurs from China, has solidified the scientific consensus that birds are, in fact, living dinosaurs. They are descendants of small carnivorous theropods, much like Velociraptor. This means that when you see a pigeon in the park or hear a sparrow sing, you are observing a modern-day dinosaur. This connection transforms our perception of these familiar creatures, linking them to a majestic and ancient lineage. The evolutionary journey from a ground-dwelling theropod to a flying bird is a stunning example of adaptation. Dinosaurs also have an immense impact on popular culture. They have captivated the public imagination for generations, inspiring countless books, movies, toys, and museum exhibits. Films like Jurassic Park brought these creatures to life with breathtaking realism, sparking renewed interest and awe. This cultural fascination introduces new generations to scientific concepts and the wonders of the natural world. Dinosaurs represent the ultimate other, creatures so different from anything alive today, yet so undeniably real. Their story is one of power, mystery, and ultimately the fragility of existence. The story of the dinosaurs also carries important lessons for us today. Their extinction demonstrates that even dominant species are not immune to catastrophic global events and environmental change. As we face our own environmental challenges, the history of the dinosaurs serves as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of life and the delicate balance of ecosystems. By studying their rise, their long reign, and their eventual demise, we gain a deeper appreciation for the history of life on Earth and our own place within it. The giants of the past continue to teach us long after they walked the Earth.